Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys coming at you with another Anna Saturday episode. It's Matt Marrero along with
Tristan Walter.
And yes, this is an Anna Saturday, even though, as you guys can tell most likely from the title of the video or whatever you may have downloaded or seen, we're doing Wreck-It Ralph but remember, it's a movie. So you would think, but Friday Night Movies. But it's animated. So Anna Saturday.
I'm going to wreck it.
That's so awkward. Sorry, you don't understand. I'm watching the movie as I always do in the background while we do the podcast, and I just see that DDR girl on screen, and she's telling everyone like, "Hey guys, we can do whatever now." And so as I see her on screen stop dancing, you're like, "I'm gonna wreck it," and I'm just like, "All right, well, you know what? Never mind. We've completely gone off the rails. We've immediately gone off the rails. Okay, that's great."
I haven't done anything. That's you. You making connections and assumptions that don't exist.
Look, man. First off,
this is
making connections
thinks I'm the bad guy, and you're the hero.
Okay, shut up.
Not true.
First off, I am
just
small.
Just because he's the host doesn't mean he's a good guy.
First off, I am small. Yes. I mean, I'm not surrounded by garbage, but unless you think negatively. You don't personally, but some people might think negatively of retro video games. So if they think it's garbage, it's not garbage to me. These are amazing boxes.
Oh my God.
I don't know, but and I don't live in a mansion either. Although in Japan, I think the word mansion is used for apartments, so perhaps I do. Which I do live in an apartment, but not as good as they do though. Like those apartments look amazing. Like those high-rise. Because when we saw the party, we were like, "Oh wow, this isn't like a little small place. Like this is a huge you think like New York City style hotels back in the day, or the ones that are around now. Like like that kind of. It just looks beautiful. But even though I'm small, I do have tools, right? You see our Let's Play channel. I open up cartridges with the screwdrivers. I mean, I do have tools. And I was once attracted to a tall blonde. So, I mean, in theory, it's sadly piecing together far too well.
And I'm large and have large hands and wear red and have a sort of a disposition. And, And no one likes me.
Tristan, that's not as accurate as you think. I mean, you're on the right track, but not really.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry. It's just you saw a movie about a bad guy in a video game, and you're like, that's me. And I'm like, that's not how representation works, Tristan.
Oh, my God.
Although, to be fair, I am kind of dead inside. So when I saw the zombie, I was like, fair.
Is it bad to want more out of life? Yeah. Well, thanks for that insight, zombie.
No, what I love is did you leave your axes? No, got them right here.
Oh my God! Don't forget your hatchet.
Also Zangief. Yeah, that was the hatchet. Yeah, Zangief was funny. I thought his voice would be deeper, but still, Zangief was funny regardless.
I'm pretty sure it's the same dude who did his voice. Oh, maybe it's not, because I know I have the DVD, and I'm so happy to have it because I love this movie. But some of the voices for the game characters are actually their voices from the games that they were in. It's the same voice actor that did them in the games.
Who voices Sonic? Because they did the joke from the older Sonic TV show that was actually Jaleel White, who was Steve Urkel, but I don't think Jaleel White did the voice here. Do you know who did the voice? Are you able to look it up? It's the newer, from Sonic Adventure or later?
Probably maybe a bit later.
Okay, no, because I know around the time this game was out, or this movie was out rather, the games that were out for Sonic were not fun, according to the internet.
Right.
Yeah, from what I remember a lot of angry rants.
I can't remember now.
But
I know Sonic was one of them. Roger Craig Smith, that's who did Sonic.
Okay, so one thing. So first of all, I haven't seen this movie until there was a delay. We were supposed to do the podcast the same day I saw the movie. That didn't actually happen, sadly. But the point is that I didn't see this movie until a week before or the day of this podcast, right? So, because I'm watching it again now. So it was so interesting because I heard a lot of hype about it. I wanted to see it, but for some odd reason, I just never got around to it, and it just never happened. It's just one of those things, Tristan. I mean, you obviously know. I mean, you got your N64 like what, 3-4 years ago? Like you never sat back or what was that? 3 years ago, right?
3 years ago, yes.
Yeah. You were never anti-N64, right? You were not anti-Nintendo at all.
I
you
never
were just,
had one as a child.
Exactly, and you were like, and I want one. But it was always a thing in the back of your mind. You're like, I want one, and then just never really happened until all of a sudden you got one. So same thing with me in this movie, because think about it. This movie came out in 2012, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about doing it for at least a good 6 months. And finally what ended up happening was we saw the trailer for the sequel, which there's some people that don't even know that there was a trailer for the sequel. I actually had to send it their way. I was at work. It was kind of funny. I was just like, guys, there's a sequel coming out. We really gotta watch it, I guess, because I sent it around after watching the movie, and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of hyped for the sequel. I mean, it does.
Yes.
I would like to. I'm hyped. Yeah. I do think though that it doesn't need a sequel. I think this movie was actually such a good standalone story, and I love it so much because of that. And it's kind of funny because I'm not anti-movies nowadays, but I have to admit, though, in certain cases, it does feel awkward to feel like you're getting half of a story, but tune in next time in 2 to 3 years. So
no, this one definitely felt very
yeah.
nice. Yeah, contained
and isn't
within
it funny?
Just this movie.
You would think that people would try to exploit kids, who are like, oh no, we'll get them to come to the next movie. No, it's the movies that are made for families, obviously, with superhero movies and stuff. And obviously Jurassic World is one that we've talked about that's made for a family audience, not just adults. But there's certain movies that I'm sitting back and I'm like, it feels like you're just waiting for next time. There's just stuff missing. I didn't feel like there was anything missing from Wreck-It Ralph. I didn't feel yes, it would be nice if they went into some of the other, worlds more, or if I knew a bit more about, how the villain survived, I guess, because it seemed like he was taken out. So it's kind of like, wait, how is he back? That would have been nice, I admit, right? But it's not as if...
I guess the idea would have been that he escaped his game before it was unplugged and carted out of the arcade.
Potentially, yeah, you're right. That would be the only way to explain it, I guess. It was just never explained. So that's the one thing that I'm like, it would be nice. It would have been nice to, even though they had a nice build between I forgot her name, the woman from basically the survival shooting game with Felix.
Hero's Duty.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Hero's Duty. Hero's Duty. By the way, I never would have laughed at that until they did in the movie so much that I was like, all right, fine, it's funny.
What?
Hero's Duty.
Oh, yeah.
Duty. It's such a dumb joke that I'm like, it's not funny. But after they say it so much, I'm like, all right, actually, I'm going to chuckle.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's coming from, Vanellope's character, so it's like, you know what, that's fitting. You would make that joke, wouldn't you? You're a child.
So, yeah. Also, that's the weird thing. She's a child, as the rest of them are in that kingdom. But they live every day, though. So,
True.
no, it's one of those weird things where it's just like, I'm a child. Aren't you 10 years old? Which is still a child, yes. But, if you start at the mentality of, a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old, 10 years later you'd be 16. But it's just so funny because, they're all, kids. And they're all, bratty and stuff and cliquey. But it's just kind of funny because it's just like, no, at least, well, it's funny. You know what's very strange? They're clicky, but maybe not in the real game because their code was changed. So for that, so when they thought that she was a glitch, then that was when they were like, "OMG, no way, get away from me." But then once they were like, "Oh, you're a princess again," obviously, yes, they're not going to be a piece of shit to the princess. But it didn't seem like they were clicky against other riders. Like it was kind of like, we all love each other. We're not going to be this way. But once they've, but you're the glitch, so get away from us, OMG. No, but it made sense to be like go away. But they became very cliquey, like it's like their personalities changed completely, not just because of royalty, but it felt like they were never that rude to other riders.
Right.
Where it was just like we're all on the same boat except the glitch.
Yeah.
By the way, did you trust the king at one point? Because like I felt like I should have never done it, but at one point, like his logic was solid though. Like, as a glitch, she can't leave the world.
Right. That was the whole point. Like, he makes you feel, you fall for it just because it's like, oh, God, he's making sense. And this would explain why he's been kind of a giant dick. But at the same time, is that really all it is? Is it? Is it really?
Yeah. So, here's the one thing, though, I'll say about the movie that I don't know if it's a bad thing. I just think that maybe it took a different approach. Approach that I think it felt very real in some ways, but in other ways it was just, I don't know, maybe a bit too much of, I guess, a coincidence, which sometimes that's just what life is, right? Just the idea that it felt like there was no central villain until there was. Like, it felt like it's like, oh, it's a personal journey. That's good. But then a villain was thrown in, and it's just like, I'm not saying they didn't foreshadow it by mentioning Turbo throughout the film. Like, that was good. Like, I thought that was a real term that I didn't know about. And I'm like, well, I know that the game was in, I know that, it's been 30 years. Is that like a thing that I don't know about? And obviously it wasn't. But at first I thought it was. I was like, it's just because I'm not, my 40s. I don't know what going turbo means. But that's what I thought. I thought it was like an old school arcade term that I didn't know about, and I was an idiot for not knowing.
You don't have enough arcade cred to get this reference.
That's what I thought. So that was my first thought. And then actually watching the movie and seeing what going turbo meant, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. And then, how, like, that's, like, this is the backstory. And I probably should have guessed that he would have appeared. But, again, this is, I don't know. I just didn't imagine that he would just randomly show up.
I personally thought it was actually a really good twist. Like, the twist was...
No, it wasn't a bad twist. I'm not saying it was a bad twist. All I'm saying is it felt like it was just so much of a coincidence of like, oh yes, you find this game with this king, with this king. Obviously, Vanellope was the princess, potential future queen.
Right.
But you find this game, because the thing is, technically, if Ralph never, like, Vanellope would have lived a shitty life, but without Ralph, it's not like anything would have been, in theory, destroyed, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny, though, mentioning the fact that, he's Wreck-It Ralph. Duh. But I think you see what I mean, though, right? Like, all that aside, like, it's not like the king was hurting anybody other than Vanellope, which obviously is an issue. We don't want him to hurt her, right? We grew to like her somewhat.
Yeah. Oh, I love her. I love
okay, good. Because usually you hate characters that are like her and children.
No, because
all right,
because she has that sarcasm and the ostracism that makes me connect with that kind of character.
Also, she keeps Ralph in check in a weird way. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, what I was gonna say, it probably would have gone on like nothing was wrong for a while until another new racing game came along, and I think Turbo would have done the same thing and probably gotten them all unplugged. as well.
Oh, so what you're saying is Turbo needs to be stopped because he's a fucking idiot. Because he can have a good thing just by being the king, but if another racing game comes in and it's moderately successful, all of a sudden it's what's King Fuckface doing in this game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. By the way, I love the puns that he milk my duds. I was like, all right then, that's fucking all right.
I remember I saw you post that, and I was like, oh, good, you did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, no, I was posting random quotes like, send out the devil dogs. And then it was just literally devil dogs on leashes with feet. No, the movie was an amazing film. I think it was something that it came out at exactly the right time. And here's what I mean. This is actually a movie that's been in production in one stage or another, in some way or another, since the 80s. If this movie came out in the 80s, I'm sorry, everyone, it would have been terrible. It's not even about how it looks. It's about the fact that you can't be a self-referential movie if your genre just came out.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Now, yeah, like let's look at something like I know it's going to be a really weird comparison, but hear me out, Tristan. Look at something like reality television, right? Reality television has been around for so long that you can see parodies of reality television and laugh at the silly tropes and stuff like that, and kind of go along with it, either if you like it or even if you don't, right? You can't, or if you've had some experience with it, you can't do that if it's 5 years into reality shows coming out. It's like it's still new and fresh. So making a movie like this, I think it would have been too serious and not as tongue-in-cheek. And also, again, you look at all of these references. Like if this had came out in the early 90s, we probably would have gotten only arcade-relevant stuff, maybe with some Nintendo sprinkled in.
Right.
Here, you're able to get a bunch of different characters from a bunch of literally so many game references that some of them weren't even related to arcade machines technically.
Right.
Like looking at Looking at Metal Gear Solid, the exclamation point.
Yes.
There isn't a Metal Gear Solid cabinet, as far as I know.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Actually, I'm sorry. There's
also
hear me out. There's pachinko machines now in Japan, but not like arcade.
No. Just no.
They fucking exist.
No.
What do you mean? No.
It doesn't. Because fuck.
All right, I feel like I have to give them a choice. What are we purging? The pachinko machines or Evolution? Which ones are we purging?
Why? Why would we're purging the pachinko machines, Matt? Because of the source of all evil. A giant blue screen. Who made this question, Kojima? But but seriously though, right? There are no arcade cabinets as far as I know for Metal Gear Solid. Yeah.
So it's just we have such a long this came out 30 years later. Right? I mean, I don't know when the exact date would have been. Obviously, again, it was always just a concept in the 80s, in the 90s. I don't know about the early 2000s. I'm pretty sure that as well. But again, I feel like this was the perfect time for it to come out, a time where retro gaming, the popularity for retro gaming was on the rise due to Let's Plays and stuff like that. Both YouTube and the rise of smartphones, where people can actually look up what these games are worth and if they want to find these games, where can they find them. Obviously eBay has been around since the early 2000s, but still I feel like any other time it would have came out, it just would have lacked a certain oomph. And that's just me, right? Where if it's because think about it, if it came out in the 80s, it's only talking about arcade machines, and I just don't think it would have been as fun or funny.
Right.
Not that animated movies can't be funny, right? It's but I don't know, I don't feel like in the 80s, but I just feel like, even in the 90s, again, you'd only have 10 years worth of, I don't know, like just cabinet material, I guess. It's just all the material they can reference. Even like you never really have like even some characters that never really spoke, right? Like we didn't see Toad speak, but we see Toad go into the ground, and I'm like, that's funny. Also, I don't know if that was Captain Toad or not, but still, we have Toad go into the ground, and I'm like, that's funny. We have the random Sonic message that wouldn't have came out if it was until the show had come out, and even then it became a meme. It's not like it was done in the show, but then it became meme to the point where it goes in the movie because they're like, oh yeah, of course we know what we're referencing here. This is funny.
You die
referencing the fact that
you don't regenerate. Game over.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, speaking of getting out of the game, would they have made references to the fact that, oh, these arcade machines are breaking down, are in their infancy? Even a plot point like that, where it's like, oh, there's graphical glitches due to certain, like, because the thought behind the man running the store is, oh, it's a graphical glitch, probably due to the fact that the board, there's some chip on the board that's fucked up. We've had the game running clean, but for the last 30 years.
Right.
So the only way the movie would work anyway like this would be if it was some weird, let's look at the future, and you know how it would have been 30 years into the future with something made in the 80s. Everything would have been the real world would have looked like Hero's Duty.
Exactly. It would have it would have been everything was virtual reality.
Exactly. Well no, I mean,
video games become so violent and scary.
See, that was fucking hilarious. Again, just something that it would have worked a little bit in the 90s, but but it's just true, right? It's just something that after 30 years, you look at, you think of a character like Mario, who even though, yes, of course, he's getting new iterations, still, look at a character like Mario and jumping into Halo. It's just like, or in this case, Donkey Kong, in terms of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Or with Ralph. Jumping into, because again, it's Donkey Kong. So you think Donkey Kong is going to, fuck everyone's shit up. But he goes into Halo and he's like, what is going on here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Donkey Kong would be like, what?
And
so it's just such a fun,
That is what they were kind of going for at first. Like, some of the rough sketches for Ralph, he was more beast-like at first. But then as they started, because like at first they were going to base the movie around Felix, and then as they were building up the characters, they looked at Ralph and they're like, wait a minute. Why don't we make it around him? That'll make it a much more interesting story. And then they started to make him a bit more like humanistic.
This movie would have done very poorly if it was based around Felix.
Yeah.
Like when I say poorly, I mean like yes, if all the references are intact, people would still like it. But I think people would have been like, because here's the funny thing, right? To be fair, people still do say like, oh well, Felix is Mario. It's hey look, it's just Mario over there. But it would have been, I think you and I would even have been like, all right, we can't deny if it would have been based around Felix. Way too much. Like, the idea of it being Mario, way too fucking much.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. Like, I'm happy that they didn't go with Felix as the main character, because it would have been like, look, I love Mario, I love Superman. I just feel like it's very hard to try to create a brand new character and then make him as OP as Felix is, and be like, and that's your main character. Well, he is. He fixes everything.
Funny. Oh, yeah, no, I know, you're right. His power, he fixes everything. And yet they sprinkle in, like, some shortcomings you see with his power. Like when he can't jump, when they're stuck in the milk, the
nest quicksand.
The nest quicksand. He can't jump out of it, so he's screwed there. And then when he's stuck in the fun dungeon, the fungeon. It's a play on words.
No. My favorite thing is just he makes it larger. Not even fixes it. He enhances things.
What does he say? I'm gonna wreck it. Smacks her with his hammer, and the bars just get thicker.
Also, by the way, Also, I want to mention, usually I'm not a big fan of watching animated, like Hollywood animated films, because I feel like, look, I'm not going to sit here from my anime perspective and be like, all anime voice actors are the best that I've ever seen. But it's always a thing where when we look at, Hollywood animated films, it's just filled with these celebrities that we all know, and we're like, okay, you had to get this person because you thought they would sell the movie or something like that. Right? Like, as much as I love Madagascar, every single one of those actors that was in the movie, I'm pretty sure, did not do voiceover work beforehand. Like the big ones, like Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Ben Stiller, Chris Rock. I don't think they did much voiceover work before doing Madagascar, but they're all A-listers.
Gotcha, yeah.
So the idea is get them together. That's what but the thing is, the reason why I say that is because, like, it always feels like it's a slight against voice actors in a way, where, like, for Space Jam, Billy West, who, voices over Fry from Futurama, Professor Farnsworth, Zoidberg, Doug Funny, frickin' the Red Eminem. At one point, both Ren and Stimpy. So Billy West is a very accomplished voice actor, right? And he was Bugs Bunny and a bunch of other Looney Tunes in Space Jam. He was not invited to the red carpet premiere.
Ouch.
Remember, everybody, Space Jam, where the Looney Tunes starred alongside Michael Jordan. Technically, Michael Jordan would have been the only one invited to the red carpet premiere, other than maybe like some of the other supporting actors and actresses, because he was the main star, surrounded by fucking Looney Tunes. And Billy West was not invited to the red carpet premiere. His agent had a fight, and they got him a seat with other people in the crew, like custodians and others that worked behind the scenes. Yeah. So when people say, like, it feels like Hollywood shits on voice actors, that's kind of what they mean. So, but I still feel like even though there were a bunch of actors in here that you might know them, Tristan, I don't know if you know them, or like you might see their face and be like, I've seen you in something. But I feel like even though they are bigger actors, they all felt like they brought so much to the role that it wasn't just, or they changed their voices in some ways, or I don't know, like it felt like they were, it wasn't just like, oh, it's because you're a big time. And to be fair, again, none of them are, like, as much as, I'm not trying to insult any of them, but none of them are Will Smith.
Right, yeah.
They're very well known in my opinion.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Like John C. Reilly does Ralph, Sarah Silverman does Vanellope, Jack McBrayer does Felix, and then Jane Lynch is Calhoun. So it's people you've definitely seen or heard of before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know which ones you have.
Like you said.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah, they're not, at a certain level where they're commanding, Will Smith money. That's a funny thing. I know, like, not when I say Will Smith, some people are like, but not anyone is. There are people out there that are commanding Will Smith money, but my point though is
Tom
that
Cruise.
Yeah, there we go. Tom Cruise money. Now we're going to Cruise. But still, so my point being though is that, and by the way, I want to say just before I even get to something else, I want to say that if some of you heard those names, you're like, I think I know from somewhere. Jane Lynch has been on Glee. If anyone remembers Glee, she was the one that I think she was. Was she? Forgot if she was like a coach for basketball or football or something.
Like
she was
gym coach or something.
Yeah, she shat on every single member of the Glee Club, which was really funny because she was constantly, her dry sense of humor was brilliant. She also was in 40-Year-Old Virgin as well, and a bunch of other films where when you see her face, you're like, I know you. Jack McBrayer, he is a delightful human being who has been in 30 Rock, and you can hear it in his voice, though.
Yeah.
Like, just him being Felix, you're just like, wow. You really are this character. It's very hard for me to feel like I see his. It's funny because if you look at his face, like his actual face, you can see his face in Felix.
In Felix, right? And I'm pretty sure that the animators did that on purpose. Like, they took, especially the main roles, like, they looked at the actors and they kind of modeled, their faces for the characters a little bit after the actors as well, because all of them kind of share some, at least little, just facial references to the people that actually voice them. And that's always something that I find cool.
Mm-hmm. Even the actor that played the military general, the one that gave Ralph the actual medal.
You want to know what his character name is?
I forgot. What is his name again?
The character that he plays is called General Hologram.
Right. Well, because it's one of those things where that's the name you would see in the in like the credits for a game, just as a joke.
Right, exactly.
But yes, but his actor, if you've heard his, but one thing I want to mention though, if you've heard his voice before, you're like, where have I heard that before? He did the Army commercials where it's like, do you want to be part of the Marine Corps? Join today. Like about 10 years ago or so, where you'd hear like the bom 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 in the background, be like, call 1-800-something to join the Army today. And so I think he's also in Allstate commercials as well. He's just this
possibly
this booming voiceover. Yeah. So, but what were you going to say, Tristan?
No, I wasn't going to say anything specific.
Oh, okay. No, because then Jane Lynch, McBriar, Sarah Silverman. People know her as her. I feel like she's become
she's a comedian.
Just something. But because that's the thing. Like, she's become just like a big. Because I don't really see her acting much. I mean, I know she acts and stuff, but I don't see her acting much. I usually just see her like on Comedy Central roasts. I see her. I'm thinking, where else have I seen her? Oh, right. She supported Bernie Sanders during the 2015 presidential election. So she was, a big Bernie supporter, so she was going on and on about that as well. I remember hearing about that. I'm thinking what else she may have done that I'm like, it's Sarah Silverman. She dressed up as, by the way, so if you don't know, Sarah Silverman is Jewish. She, on Conan O'Brien's show, dressed up as Hitler. And so it was kind of like, who's the perfect person to play Hitler? Yeah, exactly. A Jewish person, apparently. Yes. So that was that. Just thinking like anything else that just sticks out. But it was very interesting because she changed her voice so much compared to everyone in the cast that I was like, is that really her? Like, it sounds like her, but is it really? And then when I Googled it, I was like, oh wow. Like, that's Sarah Silverman. That's awesome. Because not that changing your voice means that you're the best voice actor ever. Like, obviously acting matters more than changing your voice. But it is really frustrating coming from an anime perspective, like you are, Tristan, when you have to hear the same voice actor, and they're great, but in so many things you're like, that's you. Matt, who Johnny Young Bosch are you talking about? I don't know.
God.
But amazing voice actor. But just usually when I hear Johnny Young Bosch, I know it's him. I just know.
Contractually obligated to be in everything.
Yeah, I'm sure he was in this too somewhere. Maybe he was one of the Devil Dogs. I don't know. But yes. So one thing that I want to know more about the games, and it stinks because it looks like from the trailer for the second movie, we're not going to know more about the games. It looks fun, but because I want to know more about how, I know it might sound really nerdy, but I want to know more about how the code works and how, because it's just, you introduce something so like there's so much potential to be like, what's going on in here? You can just jump to different games and whatnot, and this can break a game this poorly. Like, that's only happened, like, only 2 people have ever gone turbo. That's so interesting. Obviously, the one who named it, one who's it's named after, and Ralph, over 30 years. That's a good turnover. Like, that's actually a really good rate of going turbo, actually.
Yeah.
You'd think more people would be pissed.
Well, it's funny because you had both of them do it, but for opposite reasons.
Of course.
One wants to be I mean, granted, I guess it's still the limelight for both of them, but it's like Turbo does it in a completely selfish way, and I mean, I wouldn't call what Ralph did selfish, really.
Well,
I mean, it is a little bit, but it's just the idea of I don't want to be treated like shit all the time. Is that so bad?
That's the weird thing. I feel like the movie has this. So that's the one thing that I don't know if it's a complaint or not, because I don't even know if you want to call it a criticism or not, because I don't know where the movie. Like, I would love to talk to the creators to see like what they were trying to convey, because I felt like at first the idea is, hey, I don't want to be treated like shit all the time, because guess what? These guys are really treating me like shit. And then when Ralph is at his lowest, and it looks like the game is going to be shut down and everything, and the guy is being a dick to him in the penthouse, I was sitting there like, okay, we're supposed to – yeah, I was like, so we're supposed to feel bad for Ralph here, I imagine, because we're supposed to be sitting here saying, it's not your fault, right? Because it just comes off as capitalist, fucks over everything, and then shits on the little guy after being a dick to him. So it came off, I was like – are we? Because again, some movies, sadly, some ideals are like very much like, or some like themes are very much like, no, we're supposed to be like, boo, why were you going to be so selfish? But no, it feels like the movie was supposed to be like, no, we're supposed to feel bad for Ralph, like, but it's not his fault. You're the dick.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's where they were leaning, because I'm cool with that, right? Because the dude was a dick, like, to Ralph.
Right.
Like, they were not nice to him. Like, it's his fucking job. It's Ralph's job to wreck shit, literally.
Right.
That's what
and
he's.
That's
if he
what
doesn't,
the other nice lenders. They don't understand. And like Ralph even says it at one point. It's like, I'm a big part of the game too. There kind of is no game without me. So, but they don't see it that way until the game gets shut down and they realize, oh, shit, right. When the girl walks up at the coin and starts playing the game, it's like, we don't have a game without Ralph. Oh, shit.
Yes. Because, of course, it's just like, but Matt, why would those people, like, how did they not understand? It's so strange. How could that be the case? Well, that's what happens when you're the 1%. Anyway, oh shit, shots fired. Oh shit, shots fired. Oh God.
Oh, I mean, it's funny because the whole premise of Fix-It Felix Jr. is the idea that, some company comes in, bulldozes over Ralph's land, kicks him off of it, and then builds this penthouse on top of it where all these people live. So I guess you're not wrong.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very 80s game because it's a game based on like because you know the original story for Donkey Kong, right?
Yeah. Or
yeah,
Donkey
Mario.
Kong Jr.,
well, no, it's the original Donkey Kong, because if people don't know, Mario mistreated, or whatever character is supposed to be, it's technically it's supposed to be Mario, he mistreated that character of Donkey Kong. Oh, yeah, Jumpman, that's what I'm saying, thank you. That's what I meant. Jumpman mistreated him, had him in a cage, and I think even whipped him, and then he broke out, took Paulina, and left.
Right.
And so you're trying to stop him, but you're kind of an asshole.
Right.
But it's supposed to be like, oh, he's just a big stupid ape. So funnily enough, they take that idea, because again, would the idea have been able to be subverted so well when it was socially acceptable to be like, fuck that ape?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny thinking about completely unrelated movie, but something we might be bringing back soon. Or actually, no, we may have. No, by the time this podcast is out, we've already podcasted on it. Actually, funnily enough, we were talking about. I want to talk to you about like the first Ghostbusters. Do you remember when like they were shitting on the EPA, and you were just like, what? Yeah, because back in the day, it's like, fuck that EPA. Yeah, because it's the 80s. Yeah, right. But that's a funny thing, right? So in this case, what I'm trying to get at here, and I think this is the big message here, Donkey Kong is the EPA. It's Donkey Kong in a suit.
Oh my! Is that why he wears the tie? Oh my god.
Exactly. It's just he's just part of the EPA. Just goes in there. They're like, we want to promote him because he's very passionate, but he's only passionate about saving bananas, which like is great because he's always going about saving the rainforests. But there's other parts of the world too, Donkey Kong.
And he's not wearing pants, so.
Which in the 80s is fine, but now huge PR issue. So really, like, HR tries to have meetings with him, but then he throws his shit at the wall and claims that it's just part of his culture. It's a weird thing.
Oh, God.
Just imagine the United Donkeys of America just, so you're saying that you fired him because he threw shit at you? Yes.
Oh, my God.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
I believe they would rather be called United Kongs, Matt.
They represent King Kong as well. He's just not getting royalty checks from the new movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. But God, I don't know where the fuck this is going anymore. The point is that I think the coolest part of this movie, and something that, as longtime gamers as we are, it is not even seeing the people in the background that we see, even though that is awesome, of course. It's the fact that we can actually revel in all of the references to glitches and how they affect games.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that Vanellope lives in an area that is considered, quote unquote, like an unfinished bonus level. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to me, I was like, oh, this is beautiful, because those exist. I don't know about an arcade. I mean, obviously they have to exist in arcade games, but I don't know too much about MAME and cabinets and stuff like that. But when it comes to, older, like, video games, like, cartridge-based ones, yeah, there's, like, a bunch of just hidden shit that's, glitched out or is considered, an unfinished area. I mean,
or
I don't know about you, but my
can hack into to find, that it's built into the game but was never fully rendered, shit like that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but my first thought when I think of Vanellope, until we've learned, the real truth behind everything, which would be funny, because my first thought was missing number or Missingo.
Right. Oh, my God.
Although, just imagine missing number. It's like, oh, my God, missing number was actually the queen. They're like, well, that's weird.
Oh, God.
Missing number was our princess all along.
Well, Pokemon just got a lot weirder. I didn't think that was possible.
Right? Yeah, right? Just literally like, Arceus, is missing number really our queen? Arceus, I make everything.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. Sorry.
Arceus is like, I make everything, yes.
Arceus is just like, I am your god, do not question me.
Oh, God. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. If Arceus was just fucking terrible, that would be beautiful.
Oh, Jesus.
That would make sense, because it's like, why do Pokemon have a god? I don't know.
Have some candy.
Yeah, right? Have some rare candy.
Rare candy.
But
I'm glad we both came to that joke at the same time.
I have to say, though, why the fuck does Turbo look so fucking creepy? Like, I don't know,
right?
maybe it's just me, but no, but like maybe I guess maybe they were trying to. I think they were trying to do it just to like show off that he's the bad guy, but
yeah,
because I can't imagine, but I just can't imagine
or that
him
his
being.
graphics are really old.
No, but even with them being old, I don't know. Like, I don't remember. Maybe again, just like it's on me, but I do not remember him. Or him personally. I don't remember characters back then. Oh, if they're white and they can't blend in with the background, like you'd look like Felix would in the game. You wouldn't fucking look undead. Like it looks like we're playing Zombie Racer.
Right.
He looks absolutely terrifying. Like I wouldn't have played that as a kid.
True.
I'd be like,
kind of like Palpatine, for fuck's sake.
Yes, which actually makes a lot of sense.
A lot of sense.
What happened to Vanellope? I'm sorry, sir, but in your anger, you've killed her.
killed it. Oh my God. You crossed your heart with your giant fists. Oh my God.
My God, Jesus. Just Felix, I thought we were friends, Ralph. But,
I have the high ground, Ralph. Oh, God.
My God. Literally, he can jump.
Oh, shit.
Right now, I remember that now. But yeah, so no, because the thing is, the reason why I talk about I want to know more about back to the whole I want to know more about the games, right? When you can just have a character go into the fucking code of the game and change shit like that, there's a lot of potential there, dude. I know to them they were probably just. They were just, I know. To them, they were just it's just a random part of the plot that we have to do that, changes everything and kind of makes him position himself as the bad guy. And he's done it before, in terms of going into another game, so he's smart about it. But that's just that leads to so much shit that can happen in a game.
It does lead to openings, yeah. I mean, I think it's also a testament to why, that he's so evil, too. It's nobody else in their right mind in their own game would probably think about, let me tamper with the code of my game, the code of my existence, or, my home.
Because it's not his existence.
Right, that would get completely screwed if something happened to it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because he can always just game jump again. Because he doesn't give a shit.
Yep. One thing I thought was interesting was, first off, before I even say that, I want to say just the whole talking about changing the game's code, it kind of just makes it makes us think of mods, which is kind of funny, with how big the modding community has become, which, again, would not have been referenced. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't change the code back in the day, but, that would have been such, a revolutionary thought. That, for us, it's no, that makes sense. Because it's, who doesn't mod a game? Especially if it's PC. Heck, it doesn't even have to be PC. You can just get a game that was for, the N64. And you can mod, Super Mario 64. Or you can mod Super Nintendo games, right? You can make your own Legend of Zelda game right now, Tristan. Based off of the Legend of Zelda games that exist. So it's just so funny. And I know, obviously, this is still a 6-year-old movie, but it's just interesting that, they went with the whole changing code thing. Because it's that actually does happen.
Right.
People do it, obviously. But, did you notice when they were select your cart, when they were trying to make the cart for Vanellope, that the font was actually, Super Mario related? It was Super Mario Kart font? The little things like that. I'm thinking of all the reference, all the characters, because we got to see Q*bert, we got to see Sonic, Toad, we got to see a bunch of different Street Fighter characters, Pac-Man, right? I love that Sonic was randomly at the party with Felix and Mario. Mario was at the party, right? Or no? I think he was.
I mean, he was mentioned, but he didn't actually make a cameo.
Oh, okay. Which I think is beautiful because I think they were thinking
when Ralph goes up to go inside and he rings the doorbell, Felix goes, "Oh, that must be Mario, fashionably late as per the norm."
Right. But I just think that
then
it's so
when
much.
Ralph's looking through the penthouse door, he sees Pac-Man. He's like, "Pac-Man, that cherry chasing dot muncher isn't even part of this game."
That's funny, yeah. But but no, I thought it was just a lot of fun to see these characters, but not have them take a big central role, because I think it would have been because there were talks of would Mario be an actual big, not a big baddie of course, but a big part of the movie,
right?
And that would have been terrible.
Yeah, no, it was definitely better that they took their own original characters and they're the ones that are driving the movie. And big characters, you do still see big characters, but they're more just referential.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying you couldn't make a Super Mario movie like this. I'm just saying that with them making a movie like this, it's you can't go both ways. You got to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
They make random cameos, or the movie is about them.
Right.
Or you know, you can't have it be like, don't worry, I'll help you. I mean, of course, it does seem odd that, like, you know, but here's the thing, like, it does seem odd that the entirety of every world could be in danger by these bugs, and Mario isn't fucking one up with a hammer. I'll admit, right? I will admit that is a little odd. But no, because like during the whole like, oh no, they're in the train station thing, it would have been nice to see some like, well, backup's here, motherfuckers, and just, you know, just beating shit up with hammers.
Yeah.
Sonic like, I'm going to fuck all of your. Remember, kids, if bugs are coming after you, fucking annihilate them.
Oh my god.
And he just speeds around to just destroy everything. Like, that would have been nice,
I mean,
like a little scene
Calhoun's
like that.
also
Something
really
small.
the only one who knows how to deal with them too. And Hero's
I'm
Duty
pretty
does
sure,
feel relatively new for the arcade.
I'm pretty sure that if you have a hammer from a Mario game, you can squash a few bugs.
Yeah,
I don't think he would deal with all of them. I just have I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, we might lose like one Toad. Maybe Luigi. Which would suck because it's fine. If we lost Luigi, then what would happen is he would become half bug, and then Luigi's Mansion would be a much different game.
Oh god. That would
just
be
Egad's
horrifying.
Like, you are a bug, man. Luigi's like, yes, that is indeed what's going on right now. Can you even hold a vacuum?
Oh my god.
Never mind, you can go. But no, Luigi's Mansion would have worked. Dark Moon wouldn't have. That's the one that wouldn't have worked.
Let's watch them all die together.
Sometimes I forget that children's movies or family movies, whatever you want to call them, are not held by the same standards that children's TV is.
Yeah.
So I forget that. So some of the shit in this movie, I was like, right, this is allowed. It's in theaters. Different standards. So stuff like that, where it's like, let's watch her die together. I was like, well, that's fucking horrifying. Well, because there was another line too that was a bit. I don't know if it was horrifying or if it was like sexy, but there was one other line that I was like, I don't know why those two come together for me, but there was one line that happened earlier on than that in the movie, and I was like, oh no, like that's odd.
She was programmed.
But again,
with the
it was
program with the most.
Well, that was funny.
Tragic backstory in the entire game.
Yes.
It was on her wedding day. And that was the one time they didn't do a perimeter check. Giant bug flies in and eats her to-be husband. Oh, God. Oh,
and I love when they get married later, just every single fucking gun is on the fucking is on the glass of the church.
And
I was like, well, that's funny.
Yeah, on the left side of the hall, and then all the Icelanders are on the right side, like looking at them, like, what the fuck? Like, if you look at their faces in that split second, it's hilarious.
Yes. But yeah, so I would have liked to see maybe a little bit of like resistance from, you know, other characters, not just running away scared. I know the whole idea is, you know, oh no, but only them can save it, and anything else would have been too much. I'm not saying we need Mario showing up in that specific game when Ralph is in trouble. Like, I want it to feel like it came from the characters themselves, right?
Right.
But when you have a movie that's kind of like a team-up, if you will, or like with all these references of all this, not like a team-up, but like when you're world building and you make an entire world, it would be like, okay, here's a good example, right? Let's look at like Marvel movies, right? When a certain part of New York is like affected, we don't have to see every single member of the Avengers, right? But that's the reason why in Marvel movies they don't make world-ending calamities unless it's in the Avengers.
Right.
They make things that might affect a certain part of the world, right? And then maybe you think, well, what are the other Avengers doing? But then, of course, you end up seeing their movies later, and they're actually all accounted for. Like, I'm actually in space It's like, I'm actually in, Valhalla. It's like, yeah, I was in the future, but also then in the past. It's odd. Like, the movies usually keep people accounted for so that there's not like, well, if this person is destroying, New York, where are the rest, right? But the point is that, like, here, because it's all in the terminal, and it all has to do with and again, these bugs are kind of getting in the terminal, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? It's weird that we don't show, like, some people trying to fuck up some bugs.
No one else, in other games or in Game Central Station knew what was going on in Sugar Rush. Because when Ralph leaves Hero's Duty and he's got the Cybug in the escape pod, even the Surge Protector doesn't have time to be like, screen him and stop this from. He would probably normally that kind of thing probably would have been stopped from occurring, but no one else really knows what's going on because it happened so quickly, and it's like, whoa, that was weird. Oh well.
Oh, I know. The first, I'm not saying that they couldn't have, like, obviously that I get. Like, I'm not saying they need to stop Ralph in the beginning. We'd have no movie. But by the point where it's like, these bugs look ominous, Mario's just like, hold my pasta. Like, these bugs about to get bugged the fuck up.
And at that point, Calhoun and Fix-It and Felix are really the only ones that know anything's wrong, too. So it would be up to them to go to other games and be like, bring everybody else into the loop.
Well, because you know what it is? It wasn't the beginning of the. It wasn't during the day. This happened at like night, so no one was actually playing the what's it called? The machines. So like it's not like we would be like, oh well, where's Ryu? Oh, he's in his game. Nah, dude, he's at the bar.
Right.
Like, get out of the tavern.
You want to head
and
to
fucking
Tappers?
show you, Ken.
If you're buying, Ken.
Yeah.
Oh, those
and then we see them there later.
Voiced by the same voices that do them in their games.
Oh, that's nice.
Or a version
see,
of
little
their
stuff
games.
like that.
Yeah. And there's also some, the graffiti in the subway stations. There's one wall
one of them
that
said
has
Aerith lives.
Aerith lives, yeah.
Yeah, that one fucking killed me when I read that. I was like, oh my god, that's a thing. Oh, and also,
yeah, I bet it killed you like a katana to the stomach. Am I right?
Am I right? Oh man. Anyway,
why is no one laughing?
Why is nobody laughing? That was hilarious.
Fantastic.
So did you? In a few years, we'll be able to see that in HD. Anyway, so
oh god.
Here's the question, right? Did you notice, Tristan? Did you notice that the fucking Turbo put in the Konami code to get into the code?
Yes. Yeah, I mean the controller, the NES controller, is even on the doorway.
Ah, jeez, that was beautiful. So one thing I want to mention too is that what was it? I'm trying to think of because it was just so interesting because like I guess we're not supposed to like Ralph, and I guess maybe at first I don't know. Like I never like the second I'm like, oh, Ralph's being treated like shit. I like Ralph, and then Ralph's a little abrasive, little rough around the edges.
Right.
But like I like Ralph. It's so interesting though because I thought we were gonna get I thought maybe we were going to get like a Dick Felix thing. But no, even though like Felix is a bit much too in a way where it's like, oh, Felix, he's not an asshole. He's just like a bit like the bourgeoisie, like, well, what's Ralph's problem?
Right,
yes,
exactly. He's never been in his shoes until, when he finally meets up with Ralph again, it's like, oh, Ralph, I'm so happy to see you. Wait, no, I'm not. Floats back down.
Yes.
Excuse my potty mouth. And he's
exactly.
Pull yourself together. Like, I deal with this shit every day. Like, really?
The thing I'm curious about, though, is apparently is this game new, Sugar Rush? Did they say it was new in the movie or no?
I mean, when you kind of see the arcade, like that flash forward that goes, at all the games around when Ralph is talking in Badanon, which is great that it takes place in the fucking ghost spawn in Pac-Man.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
Yes, that was funny.
But yeah, it seemed like Sugar Rush was more of a recent addition, like Hero's Duty was in the arcade, as you pan out and see all the kids and everything changing around.
The reason why I ask is because of a few things. First off, I guess it took fucking, like, Turbo had just been chilling around, like, whatever, I guess I'm going to sleep for 30 years. Like, I'm going to slumber for 30 years. Oh, or, 20 or whatever. And then also it's like, wait a minute, I found a game I can be king in. It's like, you couldn't be king in any other game, I guess.
Well, I mean, maybe that was the one he finally found a racing game.
Oh, that's fair. He only wants to race.
Like,
that is true.
Yeah, and he took out the two popular racing games at the time. So I don't know, maybe Litwack was like, I haven't had much luck with, the racing ones. Maybe I should stick to other stuff. Till Sugar Rush came along. He's like, well, this one's really popular. I'll try this one out.
No, I just made myself sad.
Why?
I just imagined the fact that fucking Turbo may have been doing this to every single racing game. We just only found out about it now.
That too.
Now, here's the thing. So why did he have to make Vanellope a glitch? Because the idea is the code can only have a certain amount of racers. Therefore, he can't add any more because he's a part of the system, if you will. He's not a human being.
He had, I think it's more the idea he had to take someone else out to self-insert himself into their slot, so the game recognized him as a playable character.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
He wanted to be the top right away. So
right, no, that's what I'm saying. Because we as people, we as people could, in a game that's very, I don't want to say primitive, but compared to obviously Hero's Duty, it's not that intense. You can add a new racer without the game exploding as people. But because he is also code, he's like, I can swap me with her and make her a quote-unquote glitch, but, I can't, I can't, what's the word? I can't just add us all and have it be okay.
Yeah. Well, it feels like he would have to create himself as code in that game instead of just manipulating code, which is what he does. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, which you can't do when you are it. That's weird. Also, I know it wouldn't have made, the movie wouldn't have been made, but, it's interesting that, he did not kill her. It's kind of well, I guess in a weird way, or the idea of, let's make her a glitch so we can all have something to point against and be like, you're evil.
Exactly.
So no one will think I'm evil.
Right, that too.
Yeah.
That, and I think he probably just found it hilarious in a way. In a sick, twisted way.
Right, because he's a fucking asshole. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. He wasn't happy about. It's not like that was the. Well, sure, he took over a game, made her a glitch, took her away from being a princess, and made everyone hate her. But he didn't like doing it. Right? He didn't like it.
Sometimes,
he had to do.
As king, you have to make the tough decisions, Ralph.
Wow, that's weird. He literally just said that. No, I'm being serious. He just got into his car and drove away.
Illuminati
Tristan, please get out of my head. Get out of my head. Jesus. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
Together, Matt.
No, I
hit
just
a guy with glasses.
That actually is the funniest scene I have ever seen in any movie that I have ever seen. I don't care what anyone says to me ever. I don't care.
Well played.
That is the funny, because just the layers there. Don't hit a guy with glasses. He hit him with glasses.
Well played.
It's just something that's been done for fucking, 30, 40 years now?
Right.
And no one has ever made that joke?
Right. It was a nice twist on it. I didn't think you could actually reinvent this joke. Holy shit.
Yes. My God.
I think the one that I loved...
My God, I'm speechless.
I'm speechless. I think the one I loved the most was all right, sourdough, what's going on in this candy-coated heart of darkness? Talk. No, I'll lick you. You wouldn't. Oh, yeah?
Oh, okay.
It's like sandpaper.
Yeah, that felt awkward because I was like, that's torture. You're literally eroding his body.
I mean, he's the bad guy still, quote unquote. So.
Wait, who is Ralph or the fucking?
Ralph.
All right, I guess.
So it's not like he's gonna be a goody two shoes all the time. It's like he needed information. He wanted to know what the hell was going on. So when push comes to shove,
so that's what kids should do: torture people for information.
Turbo-tastic. Yes, Matt.
Turbo-tastic. How did you feel about her glitch powers?
You just.
By the way, how did you?
Oh God! You just say that as you torture someone. Turbo-tastic.
They're just like, I don't know what to say.
I don't understand.
They'd be like,
you're not supposed
yeah.
to.
You want some candy? Then tell me the information. But so anyway. Another thing too, by the way, I know it has to be a dramatic scene, but like, Ralph, just break something in half. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, you fucking have to destroy the entire car. Like, I know you were trying to protect her, but
yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. Jesus.
Yeah, no.
Just rip a wheel off and eat it. I know.
Dude,
I know.
I teared up at that.
Yeah. Same.
Like, that was rough. Like, and that's what, I don't know, that's what's so refreshing about this movie, too. It is, like, obviously it's a kid's movie, but it doesn't feel like it has to, like, dull things down or dumb things down. It's like, yeah, children have a wide, emotional range as well. And, like, having a powerful scene like that, even if it's just the idea, it's like, oh, we broke her cart, but it's like, it's what it means to her. It's like,
yeah, anyone
can understand that and why it felt so terrible, but it's also the idea, it's like, no, I'm trying to do it for your own good. I care about you.
Exactly.
And when Vanellope turns around and just looks at him and says, you really are a bad guy, and runs away, oh, God, it hurts so much. It hurts so much.
It does. It does. One thing I wanted to mention, like I said earlier, during the whole the torture tactics talk, how do you feel about her being Vanellope, her glitch powers? Because I think it was a very cool way to kind of just tell everyone, hey, you're okay just the way you are. Although it's awkward because then we learn that she's not a glitch. So that's a weird sentiment. Like, I don't know if she, like, even though I like that, Turbo's the villain, again, it was a nice twist, it's a weird sentiment. Like, could you imagine if you had, like, I don't know, like a deformed leg, and I was like, it's okay, Tristan, you're a good, like, you're not bad just because you got into, like, an accident, and now you have to, like, walk with this and everything. You're not a bad person, Tristan. It just happened. It's okay. You're normal just like everybody else. And I was like, except there's this pill that makes you actually normal just like everybody else. In fact, now your leg is fucking bionic. You're amazing, Tristan. Fuck all these peons. Like, it goes from a really nice, like, feeling of, like, yeah, like, you're not worse, Vanellope. Mm-hmm. They're the assholes. Into, actually, you're royalty. Now, sure, of course, she's the kind of person who's like I give a shit.
Right. Yeah, that's not who I am. So, yeah. Princess, huh? Oh, come on, Ralph. This isn't who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was actually, that's actually my favorite line in the movie. Sorry. And my first act as princess, everyone who ever mistreated me, you shall now be executed. Oh, wow, this game got more interesting all of a sudden. Oh, my land.
Right. When Calhoun's
reaction is just priceless. Well, this place just got a hell of a lot more interesting.
Oh, my God. Yes, that is true. It did. It really did. Also, I would like to say though, I didn't notice. I know, like we see Vanellope on the side of the game, but it didn't register to me. Like, how is she a glitch if she's literally fucking on the promotional material? Did you notice that when first watching it, or no?
Oh, no, because you don't see her on it.
Yes, you do.
You see, do you? I guess I'd have to look at the scene again, but like until Ralph sees it.
Yes, but I'm saying even when you see it, it just doesn't register to me anyway. Like, because I saw like, oh, he hit the out of order, he's feeling sad, and then he's looking at the game. I know he wants info, but like it didn't register to me. Like, right, he's seeing her right there. Why would she be there if she is a glitch?
Right.
I don't know why, for some odd reason, maybe I'm an idiot. Just usually I'm like, I got it, oh my God. What?
So you're saying that didn't click for you? Oh, okay.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it clicked for me.
Because like, I kind of half saw her, but not really, I guess, maybe. Because it was kind of blurry-ish, because he's looking at her from really far. So I didn't really register it like as it's, oh, that's Vanellope, until he's saying it. And I'm like, oh, shit, that was Vanellope. Oh.
Right.
Because I got to be honest, their character designs in the game were not, like, they were meant to all be chibi.
Yeah.
So it's not like they really stuck out to you like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you have chibi characters in a game, just me, it seems like they sometimes blend together.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't realize. I'm like, wait, oh, God, that's Vanellope. Oh, shit. So, yeah, that was a thing. That, for some reason, it just didn't click. Which usually it's funny, because usually it does click. And I'm like, Tristan.
Right.
You didn't notice the thing. And you're like, I did not.
I did.
But apparently this is us this time. This is just me not noticing.
Felix,
one thing I wanted to...
No, Ralph, you don't understand. She's on the side of Felix. Matt.
But what did I want to mention? I wanted to mention... so things reset when the game, refreshes, whatever that means. And then everything becomes normal again. Right? Which isn't an actual thing, but, I mean, it worked in the movie, so that's fine. I'm not going to shit on it. One thing, though, that I find interesting is, so does that mean that when Ralph took the cherry, like from Pac-Man, the cherry will replenish? No, because technically that's a power-up that will never exist in that game. He just, like, if someone goes, hey, there's no cherry in this game, well, I guess it's not working, then, Ralph just killed Pac-Man. So I assume it regenerates every time the game restarts, just like with Vanellope arguably regenerating as well.
Hold up, sir. Random security check. Oh, bullshit. You stop me every time. Just doing my job, sir. Name? Lara Croft. Name? Look at Ralph.
That was... See, again, just stuff like that. Like we can't put Lara Croft into this kid's movie. Why? We all know why. So it's like, fuck it. Just what's your name? Lara Croft.
Right.
Yeah, just the name drop. Also, I love just I hate
you. I get
that a lot.
No. Yeah.
No, but
anything you'd like to declare.
You.
I hate you. I get that a lot.
That I think is, for some odd reason, that's one of the funniest lines to me in the movie. Just, I hate you. Yeah. I get that a lot.
And they did
because
the perfect
it just sounded
setup for, after he walks past Cuber, it's like, take a cherry, guys. Like, it's fresh from Pac-Man. Like, don't, keep your heads up, guys. It'll be okay. And then he walks through. Name.
Yeah, so apparently... they announced in the movie, if your arcade cabinet, if it's gone, you could go with it, or you could become a refugee, essentially, homeless.
Yeah.
In the terminal.
Surge protector. Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
That sucks. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's not good. I don't know what the logistics of that are. And I know I'm never going to get them, but that sounds super interesting. Because, because the thing is because the thing is, here's why I say that. It's like, you're telling me that only Q*bert That's the only arcade machine, the only cabinet that's not worked in that place for the last 30 years. Like, they should be filled to the brim with homeless people or homeless games. Homeless game characters. No, but they should.
Yeah.
They only have like 3.
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
It's kind of just like, well, that's crazy because that means that the rest are
dead.
Not there. Just children listening in. They're not there. They went to a video game museum upstate.
Yes. We went outside and hit the cabinet with a sledgehammer. Oh God, no! It'll just be like the scene in Toy Story 3.
Jesus H. Christ! Don't do that. Today's not the day, asshole.
Which is funny. Because listening to the creators talk about this movie, it's like Toy Story was kind of an inspiration for this movie because they kind of wanted to go with that idea of, something that's in real life, but it's like the idea of when the people aren't around and walk away, everything kind of takes a life of its own. And I mean, Toy Story is probably my favorite, Disney Pixar animated movie. So like,
not only is it so
Pixar
good
for them, but
not
like
only
this kind of harkens to that too. And then it's with video games. So like, of course, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's inspired so like Toy Story has inspired so many. The Thing is alive. Movies.
Yeah.
Whatever item it is actually living. This one very more Toy Story inspired though than like Cars, where it's like no, it's just all car people or something like that. But still though, I'm definitely inspired by Toy Story, which I think is another reason why we were drawn in, and a lot of other people were drawn in because Toy Story has not lost any of its charm. So of course, kids that grew up on Toy Story or who were growing up, who were around a good age for Wreck-It Ralph as well. Like younger than us, like little.
Oh.
No, we're not talking about you.
I know.
We're not talking about you because I mentioned you in the first sentence, and then I'm like, all right, and kids that are younger. Hi. What the fuck? How did you grow younger? How did I grow younger, you asked? Anyway, but I'm just saying that, like, yeah. So I'm just trying to say that, like, it's very timey-wimey. Nope. Not doing that.
Not a linear path, man.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. What have I started?
There are
this will be a running joke.
Some would deem unnatural.
Oh, Jesus. No, but I'm talking about people that grew up on it who are like 10, Toy Story. Right. Because, again, Toy Story is timeless. So you don't need to see it, when it first came out to enjoy Toy Story. It's something that works well no matter what year you're watching it, in my opinion. Right? Because obviously, yes, this animation looks better than the first Toy Story, but it's not, it's still, like, something about the first Toy Story, the way it was animated. To me, anyway, it feels like it's timeless. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I got to be honest, I don't know what's going to happen in, like, 100 years from now, but, like, right now, it's timeless. And it's been 20.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so what I'm trying to get at here, though, Tristan, is just that, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you were young enough to watch Wreck-It Ralph when you were 5 or 8 or 10, and you already saw Toy Story, then yes, it also is very relevant to your, to that kid's interests. I mean, if they liked it. If they didn't like Toy Story, then obviously they're both a heathen, young people these days, and iPhones. But I got all three. But I was saying way earlier, how do you feel about Vanellope's glitch powers? Because I sadly, I will admit, I transitioned it immediately into, it sucks that she became the princess because it negated her being, perfect just the way that she is. But getting away from that for right now, how do you feel about the powers themselves? Like, I know that they helped her out, but, like, were they, like, do you think they were cool? Do you think that, like, they shouldn't be used because they could break a game? That's what glitches kind of do. Right. Yeah, right. Is she OP as F?
I mean, yeah, she OP as fuck, but like
it's like Dragon Ball Z, OP as F.
Oh my god.
But seriously though, yes. She did become very
it was the idea.
OP.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the idea that King Candy was trying to propose. It's like, if the gamers see her glitching, it'll cause our game to be unplugged. And Ralph's like, oh, you don't know that. It's like, they could love her, which they end up loving her. Because at that point, she's able to control it, too. Like, if it just happened
But then why is she still
like
glitching?
She can control the glitch now.
But there is no glitch.
It's not...
She's the princess. The code is back to normal and reset.
Well, then thank you, Matt. You've
she
uncovered
controls...
the plot hole. Are you happy?
Are
you happy now?
That's the glitch. That's the glitch in the plot. Yeah.
You're the glitch in the plot.
I'm happy you've noticed. All
right.
So
there
by the way,
can't be two of us here now. One of us has to go, and it ain't gonna be me.
One thing I have to say though that was really fucking intense was just, oh no, I've been eaten by a bug, and I'm like, don't they absorb? Oh God, they absorb. Like just.
And I took over its brain.
Yeah, right. Like if you thought I was an asshole before, now I can fly.
Now I'm the most powerful virus in the entire arcade. I can take over any game I want. That would have been horrifying.
Yeah, right? No, I loved, I'm the most powerful virus in the entire arcade. House of the Dead or, Resident Evil arcade machines are hold my arm. Rip off their own arm. They're undead. No, because I imagine they would fuck up his shit pretty hard. It's funny. He actually looked like a villain from, Resident Evil. Or, just one of those run and gun, those light rail shooter games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you're in the arcade and, you're shooting at one thing and then it just moves you to the next thing. And then, it looked he looked like one of those creatures that you would shoot in, fucking, not Dino Crisis, but yeah, House of the Dead or Resident Evil or I can't think of any other franchises off the top of my head. But yeah, he looked like one of those really weird beings. Oh, the Mentos Coke thing is the funniest. The fact that it even ended up being the reason why they were saved is just the absolute funniest thing. I mean, it's been a thing for years now that people have talked about it. Yeah, that again, just I know I sound like a broken record. I'm sure I sound like a broken record to some of you guys listening in, but that wouldn't have happened if it was the 80s.
Right.
Even the 90s. That was something that I remember being a big thing on the internet, in the mid-2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. It's so funny, too, because, what?
No, I was just going to say, did you like that as the idea? It's that's how he beats him. It's you absorbed its powers and you can eat things and take on its powers, but you still have its programming.
Yes, it's just like Aladdin, which I love Aladdin, so. No, think about it.
Right. I'm a genie now. I can confine you to your lamp. Right. True.
No. Just literally takes Iago. It's so cramped in here, Jafar.
Right. But I
and then
love
Genie
it.
was
It's no, don't go into the light. No, you idiots. What are you doing?
That's the thing. I mean, granted, not that he wanted to be eaten by it, to be fair, but, still, there's no, if they're going to infect that world, there's no way he wasn't going to be eaten by it anyway. It would have been really dumb if he wasn't eaten by it. They're literally flying around everywhere. In fact, I'm more shocked that everyone in the main cast got out okay. They're supposed to, of course, but, the fact that none of them got eaten before they fucking did the beacon. I think the only thing, of course, is that, even though many games have similar designs for them, it's just so odd to have a Coca-Cola beacon in the same fucking in the same arcade, not cabinet, of course, because they're different games, but in the same arcade, it's thankfully it's similar to this other game. I mean, again, that's plot, whatever. But I think the Coke thing, just having that be what, defeated him, makes a lot of sense and also was really funny. And it's interesting because if that was, like, I wonder if some of these references that were like, these are some interesting mid-2000s memes, I wonder if they were actually relevant. If these are from, like, earlier drafts when those memes were relevant and not funny, like, I remember that 10 years ago. Because, again, this has been in development for, like, 30 years.
Yeah. There's definitely some extras and deleted scenes that you would find very interesting. And I want to actually send those to you after this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I looked up some stuff like that on Wikipedia. So please name some right now as we're kind of wrapping things up a little bit.
Well, because there was one whole scene where there was going to be an extra character from Hero's Duty that Ralph learns about Extreme Easy Living 2, and it's just like this clickbait like computer game, and it's just all about liking things. Yeah.
Yes. And because I think they kind of wanted to do a little bit with that. But they were like, I remember they even wanted to go to another world, but they were like, oh, we probably shouldn't do that because that'll be too much in the movie, and it really would have been.
Right.
Even though I would love for him to look at the arcade more, it would have been way too much if they included 3 worlds.
Right. The story was well contained within, Fix It Felix Jr., Hero's Duty, and then Sugar Rush.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny. I know Hero's Duty is technically a world, but, like, I didn't think of it as one compared to how much time they spent in the other 2. But, yeah, including 4 worlds would be like, ooh, God, that's a lot of stuff going on. But, but yeah, do you agree with me, or do you see where I'm coming from when I talk about, like, and I get that in movies it's supposed to be like, no, you were being messed with. Really, you're the princess all along. And then, of course, subverting the trope, we have Vanellope being like, I don't give a shit, which is nice.
Right.
Right? I'm still me, which, again, is still nice, but it feels odd, just to me, just feels odd that the idea is accept yourself for who you are. JK, you're actually better than that. That's how it comes off to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, do you feel differently, or do you? Because again, I know who she thinks she is. I just mean, like, in the movie, the way it's written, it's supposed to be, Again, imagine if I told you, Tristan, Tristan, you and I might not be rich, but we have to accept each other for who we are, and it's okay because we're still happy. JK, we're fucking millionaires, brah. Blum, blum. Fucking dubstep, throwing all the money around, like,
oh my God.
Just kidding.
I mean,
just kidding. Who wants to be a
poor?
The
idea is that she has the opportunity to take that role and be like, oh yeah, I'm the princess. I can do whatever the fuck I want now. But it's like, she still chooses to stay who she is. She chooses to stay true to herself.
I love you, though. Your description is great. If I was the princess, I could do whatever the fuck I want. Vanellope, were you not already? You were the princess all along because you were acting like one, you piece of shit. Oh my God. Just everyone's like, Ralph. Oh my stars.
You're mimicking
like
me. You're mimicking me. Sorry, your breath's so bad you made my ears melt. All right, I don't have time for this, and you're annoying. Vanellope's roast game was on point. Jesus.
It was. It really was. How did you feel?
I love the fact just Sarah Silverman playing her. Like, the comedy, like, even though, she would have to keep it, like, PG, like, it was still so funny, though. Yeah. Yeah. Still on point.
No, so one thing I have to mention, though. I remember the joke I was thinking of. The one where I was like, well, this is odd. Thanks, Satan. It's actually pronounced Satine.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm like, oh, that's something I would not have expected in this movie. Yeah. Also, it's funny? I feel like with the end, I mean, I'll still talk about the princess stuff, but, like, after the princess stuff, I feel like we just have to throw everything away and just be like, it's okay. It's everything's just, this is supposed to be a feel-good ending. Let's stop thinking about it from a video game perspective. Because it's just, you have Ralph.
Right.
Yeah, I brought everyone in from other games. And I'm like, kids are going to really be fucking confused and think you're glitching the fuck out. Ralph, your game, you just killed your game. Spending the whole... It's like, no, kids love it. I'm like...
I mean, that's why they said they only do it for, like, the bonus level.
Yes, which is true. Yeah, they don't make it seem like... Still, it's odd, but anyway. It was
still
a random...
fucking weird, like, looking at it. It's like, why the fuck did this not happen before? Like, Witwack comes over, I have no fucking idea. I bought this game over 30 years ago, and I have never seen that happen before.
Yep. One thing I want to mention that I thought was hilarious.
Guess we'll have to put all Ralph and Felix out to pasture.
Yep.
Oh, God.
It was a quick...
Oh,
it was a...
God.
Just hear me out, though. I don't know what you just said, and I think I should care, but I have to say something quickly. The small thing, though, when everyone was coming into the arcade in the beginning, where it's like and you have the owner saying, hey, and then looks at a man who's clearly as old as us, and he says, hey, little guy, and winks.
Yeah. Hey, nice to see you. Nice to see you. You too, little fella.
Yeah, that killed me. I was like, all right, that's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's just, no, because it's like, it's old man humor that's not like being, like, you're not being a piece of shit to me just because I'm in you're just making a fun little joke,
Right, yeah.
No, because you know what I mean? Like, because some people can be dicks about, like, oh, no,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, well, you're
Aren't
still playing
you
these games?
No,
it's just like...
to be in the arcade?
Yeah, like, that's like, don't be a dick. Like, it's like, no, it's just like, hey, it's a little guy, and it's like, it's funny.
I pay you to be here. Yeah, I know, but...
but yeah, by the way, apparently Dr. Wily, I think, was supposed to be in the Bad Anon scene, but at the last minute he was removed for some odd reason. But even with the people we got, that was super interesting. Like, we got Bowser, we got Dr. Well,
Eggman.
Eggman, thank you. No, well, yeah, we got Eggman. Yeah. We got, who else did we get? We got Satine. Got Satine up in this.
Yeah.
We got,
Zangief.
Thank you.
Another character from Street Fighter, Captain something. Can't remember.
Oh, M. Bison, you're thinking.
M. Bison, yes.
Or Vega. It depends on depends on where you look in the world. Different names if you don't know. There was a name switch up. I'll send it to you if you didn't know. It was like a name switch up where, like, in Japan, 3 characters got their names switched around when brought over to the U.S. The credits, I think, were some of the coolest things ever. Like, seeing their own games changed up, either to 8-bit or to, seeing Felix shooting off guns in Hero's Duty, or having them appear in Sonic, or in Street Fighter, where you have you have Ralph breaking the car, and I was like, this is actually really fun. So the one thing I want to say is, as we're finishing this up, I think I just really enjoyed I know it sounds silly to say I really enjoy all the references, but it's just the idea that it does feel as if they cared, and I think that's what matters, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where it doesn't, because the thing is, look, and I'm not trying to use this as like a soapbox to shit on other, films or TV shows, but I might use this as a soapbox. I'm kidding, but I'm not going to use this as that, right? But I just have to compare it to one small show. It's a small one. You may have heard of it. It's called The Big Bang Theory, and it's something small. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Not many people have, Tristan. But with The Big Bang Theory, I just feel like, I'm not saying that no one who works on the show likes, the quote-unquote nerd shit that they talk about. But sometimes it feels like it's just there to laugh at nerds rather than have us laugh with it. Not always, but I do feel like some of the humor...
I get you. Yeah.
You've seen the show?
Right. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
I used to like it at one point, but then I started to realize that, it is, there are a lot of points where it's like, you're not really laughing with us, you're kind of laughing at us, guys. Can you not do that?
And again, I'm sure Yeah, and I'm sure not every episode and I know not every joke, because some jokes are meant for us to laugh with it. You know, like I think one of the best jokes, and to be fair, I haven't seen every season or something, but like from what I have seen from it, one of the best jokes is when they did a flashback with, I say young Sheldon, not the show, like with a younger version of Sheldon, when Leonard was first going to move in, and they were just like, oh, so every, like I think Friday night or every Monday night we're going to watch Firefly? Well, of course. And then shook hands on it, and I was like, oh, I know. I was like, oh no, guys, like that one was really funny to me. I was like, ooh, that hurts. But but like, because that was a funny nerd joke that we're just like, versus just, you know, like, what are you doing, Sheldon? I'm watching Doctor Who. Everyone's laughing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, granted, perhaps they're laughing because if I remember correctly, it was like, Sheldon, it's 6:30. I always get up at 6:30 to watch Doctor Who. Everyone's laughing.
Right.
Ha! Fucking stupid nerd! Ha! Fucking getting up at 6:30. Ha! Oh, God, it's so funny. Fucking stupid nerd. So, like, that's how it comes off to me. Here, I never felt like we were supposed to be like, oh, these stupid, shitty video games. Oh, my God. Aren't they so stupid and shitty? Like, it felt like it actually wanted us to enjoy the movie based around the content matter, not make fun of the content matter because it's so stupid. Like, we could laugh at, like, I don't think people should be like, oh, I don't want to laugh at this because it should have been more serious. All right, have a sense of humor, you know? Because they can have a sense of humor, but there's a difference between, like, you know, just a bunch of the stuff that they said in here, right, versus... I always watch Doctor Who at 6:30 a.m. How funny is it that the stupid nerd woke up at 6:30 a.m. to just see this show? Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, because, I mean, even the director and the writers, like, I'm pretty sure it was Rich Moore, the director, that talks about how, you know, games were a part of his childhood, and he was really excited. It's like somebody approached, or maybe it was Phil Johnson or Jim. I'm just looking at the different writers. It was somebody, I can't remember which one, that said, somebody approached me and said, hey, you know, we're working at Disney and we want to do a movie about, you know, based around video games. And the guy was like, so the two things that I've loved most in my life, animation and video games, have come together to me in a neatly tied, bowed package. And it's like, hell yes, let's do this.
Right. Yeah, no,
it definitely comes out of a place for love and appreciation.
Exactly. And, you know, and again, I don't even think it can be misconstrued, like just how much love or how much knowledge. I mean, even if someone tries to be like, no, it was all Wikipedia stuff, nothing real, like, in depth. Well, again, this isn't a movie about Street Fighter or, you know, or Sonic or Mario. So I don't expect much depth to those characters. I expect them to walk around because, again, it would be really odd. I know it's Disney, but it would be really odd if the characters didn't appear at all, and it was just like, oh, we have our new characters, and then we also have, you know, Sonic the Chinchilla. And it's just okay. I mean, again, if it's a parody movie, then it's funny, but this isn't meant to be a parody. It's meant to be an homage.
And Dario the Chimney
Sweep. There's a difference.
Right.
What was it? Wario the Chimney Sweep?
No, I said Dario the Chimney Sweep.
Oh, Dario, yeah. No, because when you said Wario, I was just like, we already have one of those, and I think he is a parody. But yes, is there anything you want to say about the film before we kind of finish this thing up?
Yeah. Well, two things. I also wanted to ask you with Calhoun's character. I thought, it's funny, I know it's supposed to be like first-person shooters and all of that, but she kind of gave me a real Samus vibe. And I guess it's just, you know, the female lead that doesn't take shit from anybody who has guns. But I mean, but you know what? I mean, again, this movie was you know, in, not, I don't want to say production hell, but it was in planning stages for a very long time. For all we know, that version of a character could have been very much like Samus from Metroid at one point, and then just changed throughout the years. For all we know, if this had come out in the 90s, she would have been like Sarah Croft. Right.
Or Lara Croft, rather. She would have been like Lara Croft. So, for all we know, this character has changed so much throughout the years that it just made sense to have her be from, a game like this. Now, it's very strange, though, because even though we think of her as a character from, like, Halo or Call of Duty, clearly because it's in an arcade, again, you think of her as one of those, like, one of those, just one of those, like, shooter games. But, again, not like, I mean, maybe there are Call of Duty cabinets now, and I don't know about them, but, like, they're, like, a bunch of, like, random, like, off-brand, not just... I would. It's funny though because we say that, but like there's like a bunch of different weird cabinets. I say weird in the sense that like there's Guitar Hero cabinets.
Yeah.
Like there's Luigi's Mansion cabinets. So there's like there's a Luigi's Mansion sit down cabinet.
Okay.
I know. I agree. It just sounds so much fun. I was like, oh my god, it exists.
Oh yeah. No, I would totally be down to play that. Like. That might have sounded a little lackluster, but yeah, no, totally down.
I think it confused you. You were like, what?
Yeah.
Just
kind of.
Yeah. No, because like it's funny. I was just recently I was talking to someone and they were like, Luigi's Mansion is a really underrated game, and I love it so much. I'm like, is it really underrated? I thought everyone loved it. But like you and I love it so much. I don't know about you, but I feel like it's not underrated. But maybe it is. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure either. But anyway.
Yeah, no, because again, but still, back to what matters. Her character was very interesting, and frankly, was needed because, and granted, yeah, sure, you could say why did she have to have a love interest thing with Felix, and why do we have to do that? And that I totally get. But I think what matters is that, and this is what really mattered the most, I feel, making her in love with Felix didn't mean that Felix had to step in and be like this master, like, oh, I'm going to take down, like, at the end of the day, it was Ralph who was the big main character, and she could still say things, even though she's like, I love you, or at least they love each other in some way, or there's some feelings there. She can still be like, get behind me, Felix. I'm shooting things down. Like, Felix wasn't like, well, give me a gun, ma'am, because I'm going to make sure to shoot them down. Like, no, it's like, no, Felix, you're get behind me.
Yeah.
Like, Felix, don't even.
Sweetie.
Felix, if you hit them with your hammer, they will get bigger.
Right.
Yeah. So
you're useless when it rains.
Exactly. So that's what matters to me, anyway.
Yeah.
What matters is not like, even though I get it, love, stereotypical, everything like that. I think what matters though is, but what matters the most is the
having
character
that relationship
affected?
Didn't take away from her. Yeah, exactly. Didn't take away from her character being powerful on her own.
Exactly. Like, so, you look at, it's funny, I still haven't seen episode 8, but I think we talked about this when we did episode 7, from Star Wars here, for, we did a podcast on that. I think we may have mentioned, like, oh, there's all these people shipping, Rey with just members of the cast, right? Like, I'm saying just other characters. But what matters the most, is Rey still, i.e., from the looks of it, like a main character or one of the main characters, and is she still badass? If those are checked off while still, being in love, quote unquote, to me it doesn't really take away from it. It takes away when it's just like, okay, baby girl, right? You're interested in this guy now. Now you got to take a back seat because now you're not powerful anymore. So that's the thing, right? And here it felt like they did not. It felt like they did not take away from her at all. So, I loved her character, and again, it's an hour and
Right.
It's a short
I feel
movie.
like the only other thing
you can't have them.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the only other thing people might say, like taking away from her character, being like, oh, well, why did she have to have like perfect proportions? Quote unquote. But it actually ties into like the game that she comes from, because if you look at all the guys, they're all huge, muscle-bound dudes as well. So they're not
exactly.
So they're all, charted as that. It's like, oh, this is the perfect human being kind of deal, but it's like, it's kind of poking fun at first-person shooters and how they portray characters.
Exactly. And also I would like to mention as well, first off, I'd like to mention that her armor was the exact same as the guy's armor, so that was pretty progressive in and of itself. Where some games, they're just like...
accent.
Yeah, they're like...
Yeah,
yes,
too much.
Because some games, they're like, male armor covers the entire body with the helmet. Female armor covers your vagina. And it's like, well, thank God that's protected because it makes babies. Other than that, though, damn, that's a nice midriff. And it's like, wait, actually go fuck yourself, right? So it's good that the armor actually covers. And I know it's still a kid's movie and, you know, America fears sex or sexiness. But still, you know, the point is that it's still progressive. And it's a good thing is what matters, regardless of being progressive or not. It's just a good thing. But funnily enough, though, talking about progressiveness, though, a lot of people talk about the industry, video game industry, as not being representative of women. So then the question becomes, even though this is a movie for kids, so you would want it to not teach kids shitty things about just life, would this be the movie, talking about 30-year-old video games, to have that many progressive-looking female characters? I think progressive as in, like, let's say heavier characters or more varied looks to people. When we're talking about 30-year-old cabinets. Granted, the newer ones maybe, I get it, right?
Yeah.
You know, but talking about, like, you know, 30. I guess the one thing that I'll say though is about speaking of the whole characters and cast and everything, I will admit though that in a game like Sugar Rush, where clearly it's very much inspired by Japanese racers and Japanese games, it is rather odd that they didn't get a Japanese person to voice over Vanellope. That I will admit. Or an Asian person.
Right.
That's the one thing I'll say, if we're getting on representation and diversity and all that stuff, because clearly it was inspired by, like, we can't look at Sugar Rush and be like, that's Asian? What? Really? Sugar Rush Asian?
Right.
No.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
They did from the end credits. I mean, not in the movie. You don't hear the full song in the movie itself, but the full song for Sugar Rush is a Japanese singer. So that's something, but I get you.
That's the only thing if we're talking about, like, from that perspective, because we're talking about, like, representation and all that stuff. Other than that, though, again, it's just, and maybe this is a question I shouldn't have brought up at the end, but the idea of, like, we're dealing with 30-year-old video games here. If they were progressive, that would be strange.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point, is that they're poking at the bear, and the bear is the idea of you have this higher class looking down at Ralph and being like, well, look at you, asshole. And he's like, this is literally my job. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? That's literally not even in my code. What do you expect me to do?
Yeah, the one thing I would point out is not even in the game itself, but the girl that walks into the arcade and she picks up the gun for, Hero's Duty and starts playing it. I mean, I thought that was to have,
Exactly, because even though you see all these boys in the background, the idea is for some people out there that are like, but how dare they? It's like, calm down, calm yourself. Just take all the chill pills you need, right? Those specific Rim chill pills.
Fun at that too when she walks over to go play, Sugar Rush and she puts a quarter down. I've got next game. And they're like, scram, kid. We're gonna play all the races today.
I really loved too? They weren't even like young, like they were teenagers, and I'm like, I was old man shaking my hand at clouds, like, you damn teenagers, let the little girl play the game. It's like, now you're 25. I'm old. My hip.
Comparatively to anyone else here, I am that dude that walked in and winked at me and said, "Hey, little fella."
Basically, but no. So it's a very interesting film because again, I feel like it juggled everything correctly. Like I don't feel like we have to look at this film and be like I don't like it had great video game references, which is it's again not a requirement, but it's still something that we can all nod at and be like, oh, that's nice. It didn't have the references take over to the point where the characters couldn't develop and be themselves.
Right.
And also, even though I'm not a person who sits back and says like, oh, they're just shoehorning this in for diversity. I'm not that kind of person, but I don't feel like they did that either, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like everything was just, again, how things are, right? Where like if it
right.
because here's the thing, right? If it only showed women in the arcade and there were no boys to be found, I'd be like, well, that's rather odd. Of course you have women in arcades. Why wouldn't a woman or a little girl go to an arcade? Like they should, and that's awesome. But no little boys? That would be interesting. But like no, there were kids of all ages in the arcade.
Yeah.
And adults. And people our age. And they didn't work there.
Yeah. And I think the best part
one
of
other
it
funny
is,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, like as a movie as a whole, it also brings, that kind of moral to the story feel to it. And it feels like there is actually substance to the movie itself. It actually shows you a lesson of self-acceptance, which is nice.
And of course, being anti-1%, of course.
Oh my God.
Isn't that right,
yes,
call-in? Isn't that right, our new call-in guest, Senator Bernie Sanders? Of course.
Oh my God.
The top 1% in that building, along with Felix, who learned by the end that he should be more accepting of the Ralph 99%.
Wreck-It Sanders?
Wreck-It. No. Oh my God, Wreck-It Sanders. Jesus Christ. That reminds me of
the establishment.
No, that reminds me of because I've played a bunch of different dating sims about like around last year. Right. But I also recently played a game called Donkey Trump on our Those Guys Play YouTube channel, where Donald Trump was Donkey Kong and Mario was Bernie, or Jumpman was apparently 99% man, Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God.
A very interesting game. But anyway, arcade inspired, of course. But yeah, I think as we're truly finishing this whole thing, I'm just, it's all jokes aside, right? I think it worked really well. That's what I'll say. It worked really well. I felt like everyone was represented well. Some might say, no, the gamers weren't, but I really feel like, they showed those two kids, or those two teenagers, and then they showed the one older guy. But I don't really think this was, I don't know, like it just felt like it didn't, again, I feel like at some points you have to laugh at yourself a little bit, right?
Right.
And, and also, it didn't need to focus on the people, right? In fact, I would rather less focus on the people. Like we only had to show the girl walking around, not just because, it's like, oh yeah, she's in the arcade, but she's in the arcade so we can see what the other games look like from a perspective that isn't Ralph staring out of the arcade machine.
Right, yeah.
But, Oh, and when they brought in the technician to fix the arcade, that was so brilliant only because those are the kind of guys that know how to fix these things anymore. Really old guys that kind of look like they're pretty close to the age of the guy running the place, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
Because these are 30-year-old machines. Who fixes 30-year-old machines? I don't know how to fucking fix an arcade cabinet.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny too, because when he's like, "Well, it's so strange. It wasn't working before, but now it is." And I'm looking at it, I'm like, "That guy is so old. This is so funny. Like it's just so real."
Yeah.
Because who knows how to fix them anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me how to fix an NES, sure, but that's a fucking NES. Like, much different than an arcade cabinet. But anyway, so I think we can finally wrap things up. I want to thank you all so much for listening.
One last.
And please, one more thing.
I wanted to say.
Oh. The thank you still stands, everyone. But Tristan, wait.
One last thing I wanted to say was the real moment that drives everything home for me is when Ralph is about to make that big sacrifice and he falls plummeting toward the volcano, and he does the whole, bad guy anonymous, creed, and flying into the volcano. It gets me every time. Like, I'll readily admit it makes me cry every time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times I watch it, and I've seen this movie quite a few times. I cry every time.
Yeah, I cried. Because that was the first time I saw it. I cried. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really powerful scene, and it's not something that you'd expect to see in a kid's animated movie, but it is a really powerful scene.
Yeah, I'll admit, I didn't focus much on Ralph. Because I focused on Vanellope not feeling like, she was supposed to accept herself at the end because of the whole princess reveal. But Ralph was, in my opinion. Like, I feel like Ralph was a character that they were just, like, because he's the main character, yes. So, like, he really was like, hey, dude, you can accept yourself, but these dicks over here, also need to accept you, too. And I think that was a beautiful thing. Again, by the end. It was just that middle portion, and the high rise was just like, so are you happy now, Ralph? And I'm like, oh, you can go fuck yourself in 8-bit.
Yeah.
But but I think by the end, yes, it's understood that, like, not only does Ralph accept himself, but everyone else should as well. Because again, he can't change his job. Like, believe me, if there was a spin-off, he would love to be in it. You know, where it's kind of like fix things slightly, Ralph. I'm sure he'd like it.
Oh my God. Yeah, because that's what it felt like for me at first. When he's at Badanon, and they're like, Ralph, we get it, we've all been there, but you can't change who you are, and it kind of felt like that. It's like, no, you are who you are, and you cannot change. It's like, well, that doesn't feel right, but it's the idea. It's like, no, guys, wait. It's like, I felt bad at that. I'm like, well, what do you mean he can't change? It's like, no, it's not. It's not that you can't change. It's that you don't have to. It's like, Ralph, you are fine the way you are. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yes.
Be proud of who you are.
Yes. Also, not just that, I do think there is a little bit of, and I'm just, I'm taking it the wrong way, of this is your job. Because it's the whole idea. It's the whole idea of, like, I mean, obviously we're not talking about people who are like, like I'm talking about, like, the idea of, like, if your job is to, let's say, clean up garbage. You're a garbage man. First off, you get paid very well. So fuck everyone who doesn't say otherwise. You get paid well. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're a garbage man, the idea isn't like, ew, you're disgusting. It's like, then who's going to fucking pick up your garbage?
Right, exactly. And their whole idea of, stick to the program.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even better, right? If you're an actor. Oh, you were a bad guy in the movies. I hate you. Well, then who's going to play the bad guy then?
Right, yeah.
Who's going to play the bad guy? They're literally in fucking theater. And you're like, boo. It's like, who the fuck are you? But yes, so Ralph, I think, is definitely a character that we can, not only can we relate to, but I think by the end, he's more well-rounded, arguably, than even Vanellope.
Right.
I can't believe I've been able to say the name Vanellope without messing it up and also laughing hysterically.
Vanellope von Schweetz.
Yes. Vanellope von Schweetz. Oh, Jesus.
I'm thinking President Vanellope von Schweetz. Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we're gonna have a democracy. It's like, all right, that's cool. I just
you win the race every time. Shut up.
Oh my God. Yeah, right? Like, isn't it? Well, the president gets cheat codes. It's just like, all right then. So I don't see how this is any different than the Felix situation.
Candy, but all right.
I was say Felix, but all right, yeah.
Right, that too.
But speaking of Felix, apparently someone made a Fixin' It Felix game.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
Well, Disney made one online, but someone took that and put it on a Sega Genesis cartridge.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so you can buy it homebrew. I don't think you can buy an NES, but you can buy a Sega Genesis cartridge and play it.
Right. That's cool.
Anyway, yeah, right? So I just want to say, everyone, thank you so much for listening in. As always, please remember to like and subscribe to everything we've ever done. Literally everything. I will give you the rundown right after we say our goodbyes. So say goodbye, Tristan.
Good night, everyone. There's no one you'd rather be but you.
Or Ralph. Or Felix. I don't want to be me. I want to be them. That's why I watched the movie. Right? Wasn't that the point? That was the plot. Anyway, good night, everybody.
Nothing. Turbo-tastic.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, Turbo-fucking-tastic.